I am not your property!
You touched me, now you stay with me.
She slapped Korea's tech king and woke up in the mafia boss's bed. Subscribe to see if she survives the night. Aisha Thompson scanned her badge at the 57-story Apex Tech Tower. Polished glass, white marble so clean it squeaked under her flats. She'd worked 6 months as Lee Min-jun's executive secretary. Calendar chaos, NDA after NDA, and rumors that the real money flowed faster in back rooms than in boardrooms. Her phone buzzed. Grace, ICU update. Need another $1,400 by Friday. Aisha's stomach clenched. 2 double shifts already this week. She couldn't squeeze out another hour unless Min-jun asked. In Apex Tech, saying no to Lee Min-jun was like standing in front of a bullet train. But Aisha's sister was out of time. Min-jun's corner office was more art gallery than workspace. One wall of curved OLEDs, another of floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Bay Bridge. He paced in a dark suit, tie off, jaw tight. Overnight, a sole investor torpedoed his blockchain bid. Push the 3D printing demo to Sunday, you stay. Cancel any plans. Aisha cleared her throat. Sir, I scheduled PTO, my sister's surgery is Saturday. I fly tonight. He stilled. Unbook the flight. No. The room dropped 10 degrees. I own this tower, this company. You don't own me. Her palm moved before her brain. Crack. His head snapped sideways. Papers floated off the desk like startled birds. Silence. One slap, one broken rule, and gravity tilted. Mr. Park burst in. Min-jun lifted one hand. Stay. He turned back to Aisha, touching the red print on his jaw like a new brand. Do you understand what you just did? Tears stung but didn't fall. Fire me, dock my pay, but I'm getting on that plane. His gaze slid down to her trembling hand. Something dangerous and fascinated flickered in his eyes. You have courage, or madness. I'll decide which. Aisha finished HR exit forms in record time. Flight at 9 p.m. She grabbed her office mug, extra strong espresso, to survive the red eye. She didn't see Mr. Park add 2 tasteless drops from a glass vial while handing it over with a forced smile. Minutes later, her vision tilted. The elevator walls breathed. The lobby swam. She felt strong arms before darkness. When courage knocks a king off balance, the king knocks the world off balance to set it right. She woke on black silk. City lights pulsed beyond a glass wall. Her blouse was replaced by a satin slip. Her wrist bore a smartwatch she didn't own. Heart rate 110. In a leather chair sat Lee Min-jun, shirt unbuttoned, dragon tattoo coiling over his chest, eyes fixed on her like a verdict. Good evening, Miss Thompson. You're safe. You screamed independence, so I've given you distance from the world. This is kidnapping. This is protection. You slapped me in front of cameras. My rivals will dig until they find you. Here they won't. He rose, slow, lethal grace. You drew first blood, touches, faint mark. Now you'll watch how I stop the bleeding. She thought her slap bought freedom. Instead, it bought obsession. Like, if you'd fight back. Comment run or stay. Subscribe, his next move will decide her fate. The dragon on his chest disappeared as Min-jun buttoned his shirt, but the threat didn't. Aisha's throat was dry. Where's my phone? In a safe place. I need to call the hospital. My sister. Grace. Intensive care. Congestive heart failure complications. They're short-staffed today. The way he said it like he was reading off a file made her stomach twist. How do you know her name? I vet everyone who stands between me and the world. You're my first line of defense. Did you think I didn't know why you were taking every overtime slot on the board? He reached into his pocket and slid a sleek black phone onto the bedside table. Not hers. Smaller, thinner, too clean. Call her. On this. It's secure. She snatched it up, fingers shaking, and dialed the Atlanta hospital. A nurse answered. Then a shuffle, muted voices, and finally, if this isn't a bill collector, you get 5 points. It's me. How are you breathing? Better than yesterday. Some Miracle donor paid off my past due balance this morning. ICU bed secure. They're even talking about a specialist consult now. You didn't have to do that, Aisha froze. I didn't. Her eyes slid to Minjun. He leaned against the doorframe, expression unreadable, arms folded as if this was just another status update. He hadn't just taken her freedom. He'd quietly bought her sister's right to live. While Aisha whispered with Grace, the scene cut somewhere else, hours earlier. A glass-walled boardroom, night. The Atlanta hospital's CFO on a massive split screen, tie crooked, eyes tired. On the other side, in San Francisco, Minjun sat alone at a sleek table, sleeves rolled, that red mark from the slap still faint on his cheek. Mr. Lee, our charity funds are allocated. The debt is unfortunate, but your hospital is renegotiating its cloud contract. Apex Tech controls your data backbone. I'm not asking for charity. I'm adjusting terms. He tapped a key. Numbers appeared, billing codes, denial rates, write-off patterns. You reject 22% of low-income claims on technical grounds. You sell that paper to collection firms for pennies. I'm offering you more than pennies. You're blackmailing us. I'm giving you deniability. One patient's balance disappears as a system adjustment, and your infrastructure fee drops 0.5%. No one asks questions, or every local news outlet gets a copy of this rejection rate report with your name highlighted. Silence. Then, the balance will be cleared by morning. Minjun ended the call. The dragon on his chest coiled in ink and intent. To him, lives and ledgers lived in the same spreadsheet. For him, saving a life was just another hostile takeover. For her, it was everything. Back in the bedroom, Aisha ended the call with Grace, her throat raw from trying not to sob too loud. Whatever you did, sis, thank him for me. And come home when you can. The line went dead. Aisha set the phone down carefully, as if it might explode. You paid her debt. I rearranged priorities. Why? Guilt? Ego? You slapped me so you could get to her. You were willing to lose your job for that woman. I don't like anyone touching what I own, but I respect loyalty, even when it bleeds in the wrong direction. He stopped within arm's reach. Now your loyalty has nowhere else to go. Her spine stiffened. You don't get to buy my obedience. I didn't buy it. I invested in the one thing that makes you more dangerous than anyone in this building, your heart. I don't do half measures, Miss Thompson. His gaze dipped to her bandaged wrist, where the hospital ID had been cut away. I need you alive. I need you calm. I need you here. The here wasn't just geographical. Aisha took a slow breath. Fear hadn't left, but it had company now. A terrible, grudging gratitude. Then hear my terms. His eyebrow arched. No one spoke to him like that. Not twice. I call Grace when I want. No scripts, no monitoring. I work for you in an office, not as whatever this is. If I sleep here, it's because I choose to, not because you drugged me. And if I ever say stop to a meeting, a touch, a joke, you stop. Something dark flickered in his eyes at the word touch. But he didn't interrupt. You don't own my time. You don't own my body. You don't own my choices. All you own is my employment contract and whatever broken part of you likes that I hit you. He went very still. Then, slowly, his mouth curved, not in mockery, but in something like awe. You think I'm broken? Men who cage people and call it protection usually are. A beat of silence. Then he nodded once. Your terms are ambitious? He extended his hand. I accept most. With adjustments. Of course. You call your sister unmonitored. You work from here for now. My enemies know your face, but not this address. No more drugs. If you say stop, I do. But understand this, if you walk toward danger, I will move the world to block you. That isn't control. That is math. She stared at his hand, then took it. Shock ran up her arm at the contact. Not from force, his grip was warm, measured, but from the knowledge that the tech king wasn't used to negotiating with anyone about anything. In that handshake, a contract heavier than any NDA clicked into place. That night, the penthouse changed shape. Her old phone and laptop appeared on a sleek desk by the window, wiped clean, but hers, a chair that fit her back. A second monitor she hadn't asked for, but couldn't help admiring. Minjun's calendar synced automatically, along with an encrypted folder labeled Grace, Atlanta, hospital updates, billing notes, transfer approvals. He'd built her sister into his data like a VIP client. Outside, the city breathed. Inside, so did she carefully, on a leash she'd helped braid. She'd won conditions, not freedom. But in a world built on his rules, that was the closest thing to power she'd ever held. He paid off her sister's debt, locked her in a tower, and then shook her hand on terms. If you were Aisha, would you feel protected or bought? If you're still here, you're in this cage with her. Hit like so YouTube knows you want to see how far he goes. Aisha thought she'd won rules for herself. But in Lee Min-jun's world, rules are just suggestions wrapped in silk. For 3 days, she worked from the penthouse calendar updates, encrypted emails, calls to Grace that never went to voicemail, never dropped. Min-jun kept his side of the deal. No drugs, no monitoring, no uninvited touches. But she felt his eyes everywhere. On her coffee mug when she sipped, on her wrist when she scratched a hospital band mark, on her face when she laughed at Grace's terrible jokes. He wasn't just protecting her, he was studying her, like a puzzle he couldn't solve. She saw the camera on day 3, hidden in a kitchen vent. She didn't say anything. Not yet, because every time she called Atlanta, Grace's voice was stronger. Every time she checked the hospital portal, the bills stayed 0. Every time Min-jun walked past her desk, he didn't touch her. He just watched. Until the visitor came. His name was Kim Jong-soo, rival tech tycoon, Korean, sharp suit, sharper grin. He'd been trying to poach Min-jun's investors for months, and he'd tracked Min-jun to the penthouse. Aisha opened the door, smiled like she was just the secretary, like she didn't know the man behind her owned half the city's data and all its shadows. Jong-soo stared at her, then at Min-jun, then laughed. "You keep your toys close, Min-jun. I like that." Jong-soo stayed for an hour, flirted with Aisha, made threats about a data breach that would take down Apex Tech and Atlanta General Hospital with it. Aisha kept smiling, kept refilling his tea, kept counting the seconds until he left. When the door clicked shut, Min-jun turned to her, his face white with rage. "He knows about Grace. He used her to test me." Aisha's blood ran cold. She'd thought the cage was just for her, but Grace was in it too. Min-jun didn't waste time. He called his security team, ordered them to Atlanta, locked down the hospital's data network, canceled every flight out of San Francisco that Jong-soo could take. "He wanted to hurt me through you," he said, voice tight, but he picked the wrong woman to use as leverage. Aisha looked at him, at the man who'd drugged her, who'd caged her, who'd saved her sister, and realized she didn't know if he was her savior or her jailer. But she knew one thing. If Jong-soo touched Grace, she'd slap him harder than she'd slapped Min-jun. By dawn, they were on a private jet to Georgia. Aisha in a borrowed blazer, Min-jun in a suit, both carrying guns hidden in their jackets. Aisha thought she'd escaped the cage, but she was just moving it to a new city. And this time, the bars were made of bullets. The landing gear of the private jet hit the Atlanta tarmac with a violent thud, but Aisha didn't flinch. Her eyes were fixed on the tactical tablet in Lee Min-jun's hand. On the screen, a red dot blinked inside the parking deck of Atlanta General Hospital. Kim Jong-soo's car. Min-jun's thumb traced the line of the dragon tattoo on his wrist as he checked the safety on his weapon. He hadn't slept. He hadn't eaten. He'd spent the 4-hour flight turning the city of Atlanta into his personal chessboard. "He's testing me," Min-jun whispered, his voice vibrating with a cold, hollow rage. He thinks because I brought you into my home, I've gone soft. He wants to see if I'll let my rival breathe near my family. Aisha's heart skipped a beat at the word family, but there was no time to process it. They didn't walk into the hospital. They took it over. Minjun didn't wait for security. He simply nodded to Mr. Park. And within seconds, every digital lock in the building was under Apex Tech control. The elevators were frozen. The cameras were ours. As they reached the ICU, they found Jong-soo standing outside Grace's room, holding a bouquet of lilies and a smirk that made Aisha's blood boil. He looked at Aisha, then at the red mark still visible on Minjun's jaw from her slap. "I see she still has some fire in her," Jong-soo taunted. "How much do you think that fire is worth when the hospital power goes out?" Aisha didn't wait for Minjun to act. She stepped forward, her shadow falling over the lilies Jong-soo held. "If you touch her," she said, her voice steady as a heartbeat, "I won't just slap you. I'll make sure you never see the light of day again." For a second, Jong-soo laughed until Minjun's hand clamped onto his throat. It wasn't a fight. It was an execution of power. Minjun leaned in, whispering into Jong-soo's ear. "You used her sister to find me. Now, I'll use your entire network to bury you." Minjun didn't pull a trigger. He pulled a data line. In that moment, Jong-soo's phone buzzed every account he owned, every secret file he held, every offshore dollar, gone. Wiped. Minjun didn't just break the man, he erased him. The threat was neutralized, but the fear in Aisha's chest remained. She watched as Minjun's men dragged a broken Jong-soo away. This was the man who had shared his bed with her, a man who could end a tycoon's life with a swipe of a finger. She walked into Grace's room, finding her sister asleep and safe, but when she looked back at the doorway, Minjun was gone. She found him in the hospital's dark rooftop garden, looking out at the Atlanta skyline. "You saw the camera in the vent, didn't you?" he asked without turning. Aisha stilled. He knew. "I put it there to see if you'd call Jong-soo when I left," he admitted, his voice rough with guilt. "But you didn't. You called Grace. You chose me." Aisha realized the slap hadn't just been a blow to his ego, it had been the start of a trust he was desperate to keep. He had protected her sister, but he had also been spying on her. He was her hero and her stalker, her savior and her nightmare. As she reached out to touch the dragon on his arm, a new notification hit her phone. A message from an unknown number. "He's not protecting you from me, Aisha. He's protecting his secret from you. Look in the red folder." Aisha froze. The red folder. The one on Minjun's desk back in San Francisco. The message wouldn't leave Aisha's mind. "He's not protecting you from me. He's protecting his secret from you. Look in the red folder." She tried to ignore it on the flight back to San Francisco. She tried to focus on Grace breathing steadily in Atlanta. She tried to focus on the fact that Minjun had shown up when it mattered. But the words stayed lodged in her chest like a splinter. Because Minjun wasn't a man who did things halfway, and the only time he ever hesitated was when she asked him why he needed her so close. On the jet, Minjun didn't speak much. He sat across from her in silence, sleeves rolled, dragon ink visible like a warning sign he didn't bother to hide anymore. Mr. Park sat near the door, typing on a secured laptop, pretending not to listen. The cabin lights were low and warm, but Aisha felt cold. She watched Minjun, as if he were a locked door. He wasn't angry. He wasn't smug. He was controlled. The kind of control that came from a man who had already decided how every ending would look. When they landed in San Francisco, Minjun didn't take her to the penthouse first. He took her straight to Apex Tech Tower. After midnight, the city outside was all quiet glass and distant sirens. The building was empty except for security, and security moved like they already knew he owned the air. "Why are we here?" Aisha asked. Minjun didn't look back. "Because you won't sleep until you open that folder." Aisha froze. "So you saw the message?" "I saw it," he admitted, voice flat, "and I want to see what you do with it." The elevator rose in silence. When the doors opened onto his private floor, the lights turned on automatically, bright and cold. His office looked exactly like it had the day she slapped him. Glass walls, glowing screens, a desk too clean to be human. But something was different now. A single red folder sat on top of the desk, placed dead center like bait. Aisha's pulse jumped. "You put it there on purpose?" "Yes." "So, what's in it?" Min-jun leaned back against the door, arms folded. "Open it." She crossed the room slowly. Her fingers hovered, then landed on the folder. The red was too bright, too intentional, like blood without the mess. She opened it. The first page was a photo. Not of her, of Grace. Hospital gown. IV. A timestamp from months ago. Under it, billing notes, denied claims, a list of creditors. Aisha's throat tightened. "You've been watching her before I ever slapped you." "Yes." She flipped the next pages, faster emails, case notes, a schedule of interventions, and then a line that made her stomach drop. Employee AT. Leverage risk, moderate. Emotional anchor, sister. Aisha's knees went weak. She grabbed the desk edge. Leverage? Min-jun's voice stayed calm, but his eyes sharpened. "Keep reading." She did. The folder contained a full profile of her overtime requests, her travel plans, her sister's hospital dependency, and the moment that made her feel sick, an internal memo dated 2 weeks before the slap. Increase proximity. Accelerate attachment. Remove outside exits. Aisha turned slowly, rage rising like heat. "So the night I slapped you was not planned," Min-jun said quickly. "Your defiance surprised me. But everything after was," she whispered. His silence confirmed it. Aisha's voice trembled with betrayal. "You didn't help Grace because you cared. You helped her because it was useful." Min-jun's jaw flexed once. "It became more than useful." "When?" Aisha snapped. "When I started sleeping in your bed. When I stopped fighting. When you realized you could make me grateful enough to stay." For the first time, Min-jun looked like a man taking a punch. His control didn't break, but it shifted. He stepped forward, slow, careful, like he was approaching a wild animal. "You think I wanted you weak," he said quietly. "I wanted you close. There is a difference." "To you, maybe," Aisha hissed. She closed the folder with a slap and shoved it toward him. "I'm not a strategy." Min-jun's eyes darkened. "You're not. You're the first person who made me feel something I couldn't control." Aisha laughed once, bitter. "You couldn't control it, so you built a cage around it." He didn't deny it. Instead, he did the one thing that shocked her. He sat down, not behind the desk, on the chair across from it, like an equal, like a man on trial. "I'm going to tell you the truth," Min-jun said, "and you will decide what to do with it." Aisha's hands curled into fists at her sides. "Speak." Min-jun exhaled slowly. "Kim Jong-soo didn't find you by accident. He's been searching for anything human in my life for 2 years. Anything I would hesitate over. I stayed untouchable by having nothing." He lifted his gaze to hers. "Then you showed up. You worked harder than everyone. You never begged. You never flirted. You treated me like I was a man, not a myth. That made you dangerous. So you, what? Collected me?" Aisha's voice cracked. "I contained the risk," he said. "I watched Grace's case because Jong-soo watched hospitals. I needed to know if he would use her. I needed to be ahead of him." Aisha's chest tightened. "So my sister was a battlefield." Min-jun's voice dropped. "Yes." The honesty was worse than a lie. "And the camera in the vent?" she demanded. "A test," he admitted. "Not for betrayal, for panic. I needed to know what you do when you're cornered." Aisha's eyes burned. "You cornered me." Min-jun's expression softened barely. "And you didn't break. You didn't run to my enemy. You ran to your sister." Silence swallowed the room. The screens hummed. The city outside glowed indifferent. Aisha realized something sickening. He hadn't made her loyal. He had simply revealed what kind of loyalty she already carried and then decided to build his future around it. Min-jun stood again, slow. "You can leave this tower right now," he said. "No guards, no tracking. I will not stop you." Aisha stared at him, suspicion twisting. "And Grace? Grace stays protected, whether you stay or go," he said. "Because Jong-soo is not finished. He will punish you for embarrassing him, and he will punish me for choosing you." Aisha swallowed hard. The cage door was open, but outside was still a city full of wolves. "So what now?" she whispered. Minjun stepped closer, not touching. "Now you decide if you want the truth and the danger, or the lie and the quiet." Aisha's throat tightened. She looked down at the red folder, then at the skyline, then at Minjun's face, beautiful, controlled, terrifyingly human beneath the armor. "I don't forgive you," she said. His eyes held steady. "I don't need forgiveness. I need clarity." Aisha breathed in slow. "I will stay," she said, voice firm, "but not as your secret, not as your leverage. If I'm in your world, I'm in it with my eyes open." Minjun's breath eased, like he'd been holding it for months. "Then we renegotiate everything." Aisha nodded once. "And Minjun?" "Yes? If I ever find out you used Grace again as a chess piece." Her eyes hardened. "The slap you got will feel like kindness." For the first time, Minjun smiled, small, dangerous, proud. "That," he murmured, "is why I can't let you go." And just as the words settled, Mr. Park rushed in with a tablet, face pale. "Sir, Jong-soo has gone public." The screen showed a headline, "Apex Tech Executive Accused of Abduction." Aisha's stomach dropped. "He's coming for me." Minjun's eyes turned to ice. "No," he said quietly, "he's coming for war." The screen showed Minjun's face, then Aisha's, then the headline, "Apex Tech Executive Accused of Abduction." Jong-soo hadn't just gone public, he'd started a war. He didn't care about winning, he cared about destroying Minjun, and Aisha was caught in the crossfire. "He's not accusing you," Aisha said, reading the fine print. "He's accusing me of being abducted by you. He wants to make you look like a monster." Minjun's eyes were cold, fixed on the screen. "He will try to use the law against me. He will try to make you testify." Aisha gripped the edge of the desk. "And you'll let him?" Minjun turned. "No, we fight. But not with bullets, with truth. Your truth." For the next 3 days, Apex Tech Tower became a war room. Lawyers, data analysts, security teams moving like phantoms. Aisha found herself at the center of it, not as a victim, but as a weapon. She dictated statements, reviewed evidence, and helped Minjun's team dissect Jong-soo's every move. She saw his brilliance, his ruthlessness, and the absolute loyalty he commanded. He wasn't just tech king, he was a general. Minjun didn't let her out of his sight. He moved a bed into his office. He ate at the desk. He worked with a fierce, controlled energy that burned through every hour. He was protecting her, but he was also protecting his empire, and the one clear line that separated him from Jong-soo was that he didn't use violence against women. He defended them. The media frenzy was relentless. News vans camped outside the tower. Jong-soo's camp leaked stories, Minjun's shadowy past, allegations of coercion. Aisha's image, taken from old work photos, was plastered everywhere. She felt exposed, vulnerable, but with every lie Jong-soo told, her resolve hardened. This wasn't just Minjun's war anymore. It was hers. The final confrontation came in a federal courtroom. Glass walls, cold light. A judge who looked tired of everyone's ambition. Jong-soo sat across from them, smirking, his lawyers ready to paint Minjun as a monster and Aisha as his helpless captive. Minjun didn't say a word. He let Aisha speak. She detailed Jong-soo's attempts to use her sister's illness as leverage. She showed text messages, encrypted hospital records Minjun's team had legally acquired, proving Jong-soo's interference. She explained how Minjun had paid her sister's bills not for leverage, but to remove a target. The judge listened, the jury watched, and when Aisha finished, the courtroom was silent. Jong-soo's smirk faded. His lawyers looked at him, then at their feet. The narrative had flipped. He wasn't exposing Minjun, he was revealing his own monstrousness. The case was dismissed. But Minjun wasn't done. He had promised to bury Jong-soo, not just expose him. That night the headlines changed. Jong-soo arrested on extortion charges. Minjun had used his own rules to turn Jong-soo's weapon against him. He hadn't just won, he'd annihilated. Aisha watched the news reports from the penthouse. The cage had opened, but the world outside was still dangerous. Minjun found her on the balcony, looking out at the city. "It's over," he said. "Is it?" Aisha asked. "Or is this just the calm before your next war?" He leaned against the railing, his silhouette stark against the Seoul skyline. "War is inevitable, but battles can be chosen." He turned to her, his gaze intense. "Jong-soo chose you. I chose you." Aisha felt a tremor run through her. He still saw her as a choice, not a person. "And what if I don't choose you?" she asked. He stepped closer, not touching, but filling the space between them. "Then you walk away. The charges against you are dropped. Your sister is safe. Your contract is terminated. No chains, no conditions, no protection." Her heart hammered. The last part. No protection. She knew what that meant. In his world, walking away meant walking into the crosshairs. "So I choose between your protection and my freedom?" Minjun shook his head. "You choose between an uncertain world and one where I ensure your safety. The choice has always been yours, Aisha. I just bought the right to ask the question." She looked at the city, then back at him. He hadn't changed. He was still the man who would build a silk cage for her, but now she had the key. "What if I want both?" she whispered. "Freedom and your protection?" A rare, genuine smile touched his lips. "Then we renegotiate the terms. We build a new world, one you choose to stay in." He extended his hand, not for a handshake, but for a touch, a connection, an invitation. Aisha looked at the hand that had just dismantled an empire, the hand that held so much power, and she put hers in it. "Okay," she said, her voice firm. "But no more hidden cameras, no more red folders. My rules." Minjun's smile widened, a flash of pure, dangerous male satisfaction. "Your rules, Director Thompson." Just then, her phone buzzed. A text from Grace. "Coming to visit. Next month. You better be there." Aisha looked at the message, then back at Minjun. "Grace is coming," she said. Minjun's eyes lit up. "Good. We'll show her the city." And as the sun rose over San Francisco, Aisha realized her life wasn't a prison. It was a partnership. Dangerous, complicated, but finally, truly hers.